So what I ended up doing, every time that I got on a train, I'd already start looking for an alternative in case of the trains being late. And this actually worked. And the best thing that I found actually was not even bothering with high-speed trains, because if you're going over a year's, or if you're going over a day's journey, you end up having to stop somewhere anyway. So if you're, in my case, travelling what was probably about something over 1,000 kilometres, you're not going to make it in one day. So either you plan yourself in to stop somewhere, or you go as far as you can, and then we'll just wait for the next train, which is what I ended up doing. So in this way, I found out that it was better to put the option on where, if you look at the Trainline app, you can see there's an option where you can find a train without booking, without having to make a reservation. And I found actually that that was the best way to do it. It wasn't slower, because I was only driving from whenever I set off to late at night. Then I'd have to stay at a station or on the street somewhere and pick up the next train the next day. So it didn't matter if you were on a high-speed train, you still only got 12 or 14 hours further along the road. So it didn't really make any difference whatsoever. And I found that was the best option. So eventually I arrived down in Cerbère and got out of the train, obviously. Walked down into the town, which turned out to be a lot nicer than I was originally expecting. Stopped off to buy some water on the way in a little shop, and then I went down to the seafront and stopped in a cafe, got a cup of coffee, something to eat, made sure taxi was had enough water, and gave him something to eat. And then orientated myself as to where I was in the town, and then set off. Because I was using this GPS, I found, or I have found in the past, that sometimes you have to be very careful that you don't miss the path that you're on, that might be well shown, or you might be able to follow easily, is not the path that you're supposed to be on. So I missed the turning for the path that I was supposed to go up, and ended up going up a different one, which turned into a dead end, which wasn't so tragic, because I realised that I must have missed the path, and I quickly found the right path. This path led up quite steeply away from the town into bushland, very stony. It was, the pathways were all kind of shale, broken shale, stone, and it was already hot. It was about 30 degrees, but it's not so much the heat that started getting at me, at least, it was the humidity. Obviously you sweat a lot, and that was the beginning of the next problem. That I was expecting a 12-kilometre walk. I was expecting it to be hard. I wasn't expecting it to be a walk in the park, as it were. The amount of water that we drank in the beginning, we were drinking a lot more water than I was really expecting to do. This border was one of the main crossing points for people trying to get out of Spain during the Civil War. And a little bit further along the road, there is a kind of memorial with photographs and information. It's quite an interesting thing to speculate about, I think, when you look at Europe today, and especially maybe the war in Ukraine.